Good morning, students. Today we are starting our fourth chapter, Environmental Management from Science 2. Very easy chapter, only 5 important points we are going to learn. First one, what is ecosystem? What is the relationship between environment and ecosystem? Environmental conservation, environmental management, biodiversity and biodiversity hotspot. First, we are going to see what is ecosystem.
This is a lake in a forest. It is an ecosystem by itself. Let's look at how this ecosystem is organized. Living beings are called organisms. A group of organisms of the same kind living in a given area is called a population. Populations of different plant and animal species interacting with each other in the same area form a community. The community, made up of different populations, interacts with the non-living things like the water and the soil around it to form an ecosystem. Organisms form populations. Populations form communities. Communities interact with the non-living things around and form an ecosystem. An ecosystem has two kinds of components, biotic and abiotic. The biotic components of an ecosystem include all the living things in it. The abiotic components of the ecosystem are non-living things in the environment. They include physical factors like the wind, the sunlight, the water, the clouds, and the soil. Biotic components are further divided into producers, consumers, and decomposers. All green plants and certain blue algae produce their own food. They produce organic compounds like sugar and starch from inorganic substances with the help of sunlight, water, and chlorophyll. Hence, they are called producers. Organisms which directly or indirectly depend on producers for their food are called the consumers. Consumers either consume plants directly or feed on other consumers. Consumers are further divided into subcategories on the basis of their eating habits. Herbivores are organisms that eat only plants. Carnivores are flesh-eating organisms. Omnivores are organisms that eat plants as well as meat. Parasites are organisms that live on or in other organisms. They derive nutrients from the organism and hence cause it harm. Some organisms break down the complex organic substances found in dead remains and waste material into simpler substances. These substances then mix with the soil and are available as nutrients to the plants again. These organisms are called decomposers. For example, fungi, bacteria, insects, and some worms are decomposers. The biotic and abiotic components of an ecosystem continuously interact with each other. For example, some of the biotic components, like plants, depend on abiotic factors like sunlight and water to carry out photosynthesis. Plants also need air to respire. Without these abiotic factors, plants would die. Just like plants, we too depend on abiotic factors like water and the air for survival. We also depend on plants and animals for food and other needs. Thus, all the biotic and abiotic factors interact with each other in many ways. It is this interaction that maintains the balance in nature. This complex interaction between different organisms and with the non-living constituents around them forms an ecosystem. Now, let us summarize the components of an ecosystem. Roll over your cursor over each component of the diagram.
So here we have learned what is ecosystem and what are the components of ecosystem. There are two components of the ecosystem, biotic and abiotic, and they are interdependent on each other. So how the interdependence of biotic and abiotic factors in the ecosystem take place, that we have seen. Now the next time we will see some examples of ecosystem. Thank you.